Hey everyone, and welcome back to Kenji Martial Arts. Now today I want to dive into my martial arts past and bring you back something from my Taekwondo days. Now for those of you who don't know, I've previously trained in ITF style Taekwondo for about 8-ish years. I got to my first degree black belt and was an assistant instructor for my organisation. Now there's something that my old instructors used to go on and on about all the time. And at one point I had to memorise it word for word in very long descriptions, and that is the theory of power. Now what is the theory of power? It's a combination of 7 elements or principles that when combined together and done properly are meant to help increase the amount of force you generate when you strike. Now I've been around martial arts for a bit and I've learned plenty in the time since I left Taekwondo. So you know what, I'm going to go through and break down each of these 7 elements and analyse them objectively as possible and without as little controversy as possible. Wink wink, nudge nudge. So in no particular order, here we go. Number 1 is concentration. Now this doesn't mean to focus your mind. It means for you to put as much force behind the smallest area on a punch or a kick as humanly possible. So for a punch it means to put everything behind your front 2 knuckles, all the weight and all the force as possible. For a kick it means to do the exact same thing with your shin, instep or heel. Now here I might just have to agree. Think hammer and nail. If we were trying to hammer in a nail using the flat edge at the bottom, it quite simply wouldn't pierce the wood. Due to the design, there's too much surface area right here for it to effectively pierce the material. But if we swap the nail around to face the right way, it will hammer into the wood perfectly. However, this also means that we need to use the right tool for the right job. An example would be that we can't use a fingertip thrust to pierce someone's ribcage. Oh, how we still dream though. Now, the big problem with this is where can you use this idea of concentrating force effectively? Sparring, even in Taekwondo, is used with gloves and other protection. If you only hit with a small surfaced area with a glove, you're not hitting hard enough. And when you hit hard enough, you'll be covering a lot bigger surface area on that glove. And in a self-protection situation with adrenaline pumping and tunnel vision in effect, you won't be able to focus enough to be able to put lots of force behind a tiny area on your knuckles. Palm striking is much more effective in self-protection. Even then there's a large area which you might end up hitting with, so you can't focus everything into a tiny little square. And if we're talking bare knuckle, a fist that's not conditioned properly and that might end up punching at the wrong angle will cause serious damage to yourself. And that's something you want to avoid altogether. So whilst I agree that concentration in theory is a good thing, in reality it is a completely separate matter. Number 2 is equilibrium or balance. Now honestly, this sounds a bit basic. Having balance is key in any sport or physical activity. In yoga, you're meant to keep equal weight on each limb that's supporting you up, even when you're just standing straight, keeping both sets of muscles on both sides equal and both under the same level of tension. In fighting stances, there isn't always equal weight keeping you up in your stance, but as long as the structure is solid and it's secure, that's all we need it for. Since Taekwondo is primarily a kicking art, it stands to reason as to why they would want this included. However, when I used to train in Taekwondo and when we used to have practice for the theory of power, it would only ever be in techniques with the arms or the fists. We never practiced kicking with it. So I'll say I agree with this. But again, to me, it just seems a bit too basic. Not a criticism, just my way of thinking. Number 3 is mass. Now this is something very key to any kind of power generation. When striking, it's key to throw as much body weight behind the strike as humanly possible. This combined with shifting forwards and using your hips and other body mechanics can help generate very powerful strikes. If you can't do that, then all you have behind you is just the weight of your limbs going into the target, and that is not very effective. So yes, this one gets my approval. Number 4 is breath control. Basically, breathing sharply as you strike. Now again, I believe that this is something that is very, very useful. All martial artists breathe whenever they do anything. Boxers, karateka, judoka, even Tai Chi practitioners. Katas such as Sanshin, Hungetsu or Seizan place special emphasis on breathing deeply, getting oxygen into muscles and getting them moving. Whilst every art will do this differently, as a general rule, it is a great thing. So yes, once again, this gets my approval. Hello everyone, Kieran from the future calling you right now. Just to let you know that there's been a few technical difficulties with this video, so it's going to be split into two different parts. So I've covered the first 4 elements in this video, and I'll cover the last 3 and my final conclusion in the next one. So until then, stay tuned.